What's up guys, my name is Ace, and we're going to be ranking our Call of Duty games today. This is something that's been floating around a lot. I've had a ton of you guys tweeting me that, which by the way, if you guys aren't following me on Twitter yet, make sure you do that. I'll leave a link down in the description below. But I've had a lot of people asking me what my list is, so let's hop into it. Now, just to be clear, this is based on my opinions, and also it's not meant to be an objective comparison. This is entirely subjective, and it's mainly just me thinking back to the experience I had with that game. So let's start it off with COD 4. We're going to go in order here. COD 4 was the first multiplayer shooter I had ever played online, and I want to put it in Legendary, but when I think back to it, I'm going to put it more so in the great area. I think that's where it fits for me a little bit better. While it did kick everything off for me, it's not like my best Call of Duty experience that I've ever had. Next up, we have World at War, and while I love the campaign for World at War, we are just focusing on multiplayer for this one, and I didn't really get into the multiplayer. Therefore, I'm going to throw it in the meh category. I realize that the multiplayer isn't as bad as I might think it is, but I just didn't really play it a whole lot, and therefore, when I think back to my experience with it, it's not really a big positive experience. As for Modern Warfare 2, absolutely that's going in the Legendary category. This game, I don't think I've ever had this much fun in a game ever, even though I also had so much frustration with this game. It's not balanced at all, so from an objective standpoint, I wouldn't put it here. But if I'm just looking at my subjective experience with gaming in the past, Modern Warfare 2 has to be up there in the Legendary category. Getting into Black Ops 1, this is something that I know a lot of people absolutely love, but I wasn't a huge fan of this at the time. I really enjoyed it as a Call of Duty game, and I think it is a great game. And therefore, I am going to be putting it in the great category. But at the same time, I just don't think it's quite as good as a lot of people make it out to be, or at least that was my experience at the time. As for Modern Warfare 3, I'm also going to put that in great. I'm kind of on the border of Legendary or great with this one, but I think for me, it more so falls into great. The thing I absolutely loved that this game brought was the Specialist Strike package, so you could earn perks as you went on a streak, and then you could work up towards a Moab. That was the huge highlight of that game for me, and that's the thing that I really remember that I loved about Modern Warfare 3. As for Black Ops 2, once again, without a doubt, this is going in the Legendary category. This one was much more balanced than Modern Warfare 2, and I think objectively as well, I would put Black Ops 2 up in the Legendary category for Call of Duty. It was balanced quite well, the streaks were nice and powerful, and it also had some of the best map design out of the entire Call of Duty franchise. So 100%, without a doubt in my mind, Black Ops 2 is in that Legendary category. Moving on to Ghosts, once again, this is a game, it doesn't really stand out for me, but I didn't hate the game at the same time. I wasn't a big fan of the map design. That was something that really held this game back for me. But the overall gameplay, it wasn't terrible. I wouldn't put this in the trash can like a lot of people would. I'm going to put it more so in the meh category. It doesn't stand out, but it's not terrible. As for Advanced Warfare, this is Sledgehammer's first Call of Duty and the first time doing advanced movement in Call of Duty as well. Now that I'm looking back at it after playing Infinite Warfare and Black Ops 3, I'm also going to put this in the meh category. I didn't like that advanced movement system nearly as much. And again, I'm not going to call that game terrible. I don't think I could call any Call of Duty game terrible because I really enjoyed every single one of them. But Advanced Warfare is definitely further down the list for me. Next, we have Black Ops 3, and once again, this is going in Legendary. I had so much fun playing Black Ops 3. I think this is the most playtime I've ever had in a Call of Duty game was with Black Ops 3. I love the way they handled advanced movement, and I'm actually a big fan of advanced movement in Call of Duty, or at least this style of advanced movement. And there was so much to work towards. The one glaring issue was the supply drop system, which really sucks, but I don't think it was enough to take it out of the Legendary category for me. This brings me to an Infinite Warfare, and this is where I'm going to get a lot of hate, but I don't care. This game is Legendary to me. I know, I'm prepared for the backlash of comments right now. I'm not going to let public opinion skew me on this. I was considering putting it at great, but then when I was thinking back to it, there's no reason it shouldn't be at Legendary for me, at least based on my opinion. I think this game did so much stuff right. It was just developed at the wrong time. People were burnt out on that advanced movement, and a lot of people didn't like the theme as well. But for those that stuck around and played this game, most of them, I think this game is also great. And like I said, I'm not going to let that push me down to the great department. I think this game is Legendary. I absolutely loved what they did with Infinite Warfare. Moving on to last year's Call of Duty, this is World War II. I'm going to put that at decent. If the game would have launched in the state that it's in now, this would probably be in the great category for me. But if we're considering World War II in its prime when it first launched and everything, that really brings it down for me. Plus, when you look at the map design, it has some of my least favorite maps in Call of Duty history. They're not all bad, but I don't really like a lot of them. It's definitely just going to rest in that decent category for me. And finally, this leaves us with Black Ops 4, the current Call of Duty. Where would I put this? I wouldn't put it at Legendary. I'm kind of torn between great and decent. I think it's going to fall under decent for me. At least in its current state, there's still room for it to improve. We're still within its standard 1 year life cycle. So maybe by the end of the year, this will change for me. But as it is right now, I feel like they're missing out on so many opportunities. This game has so much potential that they're just not seizing at this point, and that's holding it back from being a great Call of Duty game. So currently, it's at decent, but there is room for movement still on Black Ops 4. So there we have it. That's my list. Those are my tiers. If you guys want to make this for yourself, I will leave a link to the website that I use for this that everybody else is using as well. And I'd love it if you guys would tweet me your tier list for Call of Duty multiplayer games. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.